Hello, we're back at the Wallace collection. Well, in fact, we haven't left since last week. Such is our dedication to finding new artistic talent.
In today's heat, we have an artist who's working on a door, which he found in a skip, and throwing a bit of concrete into the mix.
Or into the mixer. Anyway, welcome to Sky Art's Portrait Artist of the Year.
We've set up home in London for the heats of this year's competition.
As 9 more artists compete to paint 3 of the country's best-loved personalities.
A sitter who's got a big scraggly beard, a big nose would be great.
But to win a place in the semi-final, they will have just 4 hours to impress our judges. Independent curator Kathleen Soriano, art historian Kate Bryan, and award-winning artist Tai Shan Schierenberg.
You're the only man, Frank, I've met who can multitask.
Don't ask me to do anything else.
Can you put the kettle on, please, Frank?
This year's prize is a £10,000 commission to paint the portrait of broadcaster Graham Norton for the permanent collection of the National Gallery of Ireland.
So, as our artists showcase their skills, you love painting eyes.
Love painting eyes, love painting faces.
Which of the 9 will claim the next place in the semi-final?
It'll look pants for a long time, and then all of a sudden something beautiful will happen.
I look forward to seeing it post pants.
Among the artists who've made it to today's heat, 2 are amateur. Hannah Murray and Frank Davey.
I've been preparing by doing speed drawings, speed paintings. I'm not saying that they all worked out pretty well, but fingers crossed it'll all come good today.
And 7 are professional artists. Oliver Winkerneck, Greg Mason, Mark Heng, Inga Duplessis, Jamie Green, Joe Beer and Chris Kent.
I'm feeling a little bit of tingly feelings, really quite excited about getting some paint tubes open and getting some brushes out.
To take part in the competition, the artists uploaded an image of their self-portraits for the judges to inspect on screen. So for the first time today, they get to see the originals. And first is a submission chosen by only one of the judges, Kathleen.
You know, I'm always looking for something that's just a little bit different. You only have the eye, but what a fantastic eye. I'm hoping today they'll do a little bit more than the eye. But it's very unusual.
I think I probably would like it more without the eye. I think I love the treatment of the wood, and I love the other eye. I don't like your eye.
I never thought a criticism of this would be I don't like the eye.
Yeah.
That's all we've got to hold on to.
I know,
here.
exactly. But anyway, it's going to be brilliant to see what they do today.
What I really like is that total look of concentration that goes, it actually looks through you.
I think I was really struck by the compositional device here. So you've got all this space behind with this really, really bold red, and you can see all the red shadows on the face. I think it's brilliantly observed.
We've actually hung it too low. If you just go down a little bit, you can actually see it looks better.
Should we do her justice and all just go down quickly?
On our knees, you mean?
Like this.
Yeah, that's much better.
We love this one, partly because of the composition, the way in which she's filling the frame, and that fantastic reflection in the glasses.
Yeah. What I really like is that the check shirt is not just what he's wearing, but it informs the rest of the painting. He's got checked eyebrows.
Yes.
It's in his hair as well.
What's nice to see is that it's monumentality on the screen. Of course, we've seen all these things at the same size. Now we see that it really is monumental.
For me, the real star of this is that look. I find it really draws me in.
Yeah.
We love this submission because of the composition and the fact that he's clearly pushed himself off to the side, but he's looking down.
It is part of the 80s album sleeve genre. There's even left space for the title of the album.
You've got this gritty jumper with paint splodges on it. I mean, he's really good at getting paint on.
I mean, that head is a phenomenal head.
Yeah.
I mean, the light bouncing in it, the patches of colour, it's fantastically rendered.
I love it when you're crying in.
At this point, the artists don't know who today's sitters will be, so they prepare for every eventuality. But for one, regardless of who they will paint, there's one colour that has to be on her palette.
This beautiful light red. It's just my instant happy colour. Once that's on the palette, then I'm home.
I personally wouldn't go for this much blue. It's a very saturated blue, which means it's going to pop forward. But it'll be an interesting challenge.
Professional artist Mark Heng has travelled from his home in Limerick, Ireland for today's heat. After formal training at art school, Mark turned to a rather different artistic career, working as a caricaturist at weddings and events.
I'm hoping to get a sitter who's got a big scraggly beard, and a big nose would be great.
I would probably rather have someone who's got a bit of character to their face. The worst case scenario would be someone who's an absolute porcelain-skinned young beauty.
Artist, your sitter today is an award-winning actor who's done just about everything. Detective drama, classic Russian theatre, Shakespeare. He's just very good at acting. He is Trevor Eve. As one of Britain's best-loved actors, Trevor Eve has brought to life unforgettable characters on stage and screen, from Waking the Dead to blockbuster hit Troy.
Looks very crusty, doesn't it?
It's only 4 hours. It's like a mammoth horse ride. That's how you feel at the end of it.
Yeah. Well, it's the responsibility. You don't know what you've got to deliver, really.
We sort of want the quintessence of Trevor Eve, if you can manage that.
I'll do my best.
Artist, the person who is sitting for you today expresses his imagination in words. He's a poet and a writer. He's been translated into over 20 languages. Please welcome Ben Okri. Nigerian-born Ben Okri has won countless awards for his writing, including the Booker Prize for his novel The Famished Road, and an OBE for his services to literature. You're a writer, so you sit at work every day?
Nowadays, I prefer to stand.
Oh, you stand at your desk?
The thought has to go down, so you may as well stand up.
What will you be thinking about today? Will you empty your head, or...?
I think I'll go for stillness and emptiness of mind. When your mind is empty is when you tend to have your best ideas.
So we may be the source of some...
I hope so. Of some surprising inspiration.
Artist, your sitter today is an actress who can bend it like Beckham. She also has had a painting in the National Portrait Gallery. No pressure. Please welcome Paminda Nagra. Paminda Nagra's roles have seen her as a doctor in ER, an FBI agent in The Blacklist, and even travelling to the Arctic for Sky Atlantic's Fortitude. So, you've already had your painting in the National Portrait Gallery?
I have. That was quite an experience, that one. I think I won't fall asleep today, but I did fall asleep on that one.
They didn't wake you?
I was a little bit mortified, actually, at the end of that.
What do you want from a portrait?
People think I get very stern-looking, so I would hope that my eyes don't sort of glaze over. So I'd like for...
I'll just be glad if they're open. I can ask the artist, is there anything Paminda can do that will make your job a bit easier?
Stay awake.
Stay awake.
What would you like?
And I don't mind where you place your head as long as I can have your eyes towards me at some point during
I'll try and arrange for 4 eyes then.
Yes.
I personally like a fairly steely expression.
Do you want steely?
Yes, I do.
Do you want steely?
I'll go with steel. Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
Artists, I hope you have everything you need. Sitters, I hope you found a spot at which to stare.
You have 4 hours to complete your portraits. The best of luck, everyone. The time starts now.
Smile, maybe? Did you see some teeth?
I don't really like showing my teeth that much.
I was trying to go for sort of thoughtful
Really thoughtful with this.
It does look very thoughtful. I like it.
We're used to seeing portraits emerge in a range of mediums from paints to pastels. But one artist is using a material more suited to work on a building site.
So now I'm just mixing my concrete. It's probably going to take about half an hour to dry, so I want to get it on fairly quickly. I'll mix things up quite a bit with my painting. When I've got a canvas, I tend to cover it in this concrete stuff, make it all just this one big textured kind of piece.
Originally from Liverpool, Jamie Green moved to study fine art in Manchester, where he now lives and works as a professional artist. His self-portrait was the first he had ever attempted and is a mix of concrete and paint on a piece of wood he found in a scrapyard.
What sort of degree of paint are we actually going to see on the surface of what is this, a kitchen cupboard board or?
Found in a skip, actually. It's going to be much more refined than my
So there'll be more...
Yeah, it's hopefully going to look a lot like him.
And given that your concrete is white, is the blue background sort of totally irrelevant to you here?
It's a tough decision because I don't normally go too bright. I'm
Pale
much more
and-
neutral.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah.
Each artist has a different way of approaching today's 4-hour challenge. And for one, time doesn't seem to be a constraint.
What I like to do is like have an hour to sort of look and mess about and think about it, because it's easy just to jump in and make a heck of a mess.
Chris Kent is a professional artist who lives in Roxburghshire in the Scottish borders. When he's not teaching art, working as an illustrator, or publishing his own graphic novels, Chris finds time to paint in his studio at the bottom of the garden. You're sort of exploring Parminder's face at the moment with the sketches.
Yes, so I'm not getting onto the paint just yet.
It's fabulously laid back of you. So how many more sketches do you think you'll do?
2 or 3, I suppose, yeah.
You're like those blokes. When I worked in a factory, blokes used to get in the morning, they'd have a read of the paper, have a cup of tea.
Well, yeah, I would be doing that at this moment, I think.
Yes.
Otherwise.
I just have this feeling I might come back in 4 hours. You'll be going, oh, God, what did I say?
I know.
Every artist does a different version. Now, yours is canvas with a grid.
Yeah, I've been working on a grid basis just recently because the drawing is really foundational. It gives you really the basis on which you can then explore a more creative response.
Before becoming a professional artist 8 years ago, Greg Mason ran a graphics business, working as Vidal Sassoon's principal designer and art director. He lives in Exeter with his wife and 3 daughters.
Using a tablet for the close-up, is that the frame you're going to use?
Yeah, I've homed in on this. It's got a little bit of expression on the eyebrow, and it was just a moment that Trevor held there, and I'm hoping that that will just take it somewhere else. It's really challenging to bring an emotional expression into a portrait, but I think that's something that maybe will make this stand out today.
The artists have nearly reached the 1 hour mark.
I think I'm sneaking up on the likeness, but I think it needs to be refined and the expression needs to be brought out more.
Parminder's hair is a sculptural feature, in a sense. The form of it is really interesting. It's a shape, but also moves, and it's very light, so how we do that, I don't know.
Here at the Wallace Collection in London, our 9 artists have been painting actors Trevor Eve and Parminder Nagra and poet Ben Okri for almost an hour. And one artist in particular isn't wasting any time.
Inga, you are quick.
But I do feel like I need to slow down a bit now.
But is it a bad thing? Because it feels like something that's been painted with tremendous gusto.
I mean, I have done portraits and gone at it like crazy, and then 45 minutes later I'm done.
But that's okay. There's some lovely seating areas here. You can relax. Originally from South Africa, Inga du Plessis studied fine art in Cape Town before starting her own furniture design business. Now a professional artist, her studio is an old derelict building in Maidenhead. How was the beret for you? Were you pleased to see a hat? Or
The colours on it is so dramatically different. I mean, more
on
time
this
on that.
angle, you don't quite get the... I don't know the technical term for that thing in the centre of a beret. I think if it was a nodule...
The nodule.
I'd be so tempted. Just for slight suggestion of nodule would make that beret. I was just so happy to use the phrase suggestion
Suggestion of nodule.
The composition of a portrait isn't just about what looks aesthetically pleasing. Now, you made a decision right away, a big head.
Trevor's got a massive amount of character to his face, and I think to concentrate too much on the figure would be a mistake. For me, it was really essential that the head was the main feature.
Oliver Winkeneck has been a professional artist for 2 years and lives in Cambridgeshire with his girlfriend. Using bold chunks of colour, the aim of his self-portrait was to create something that might not be instantly engaging, but is certainly intriguing. You love painting eyes.
Love painting eyes, love painting faces.
Eyes are very difficult.
I know, they are, but when you get them right, that's all you need.
I know you used to work in an optician's.
God,
You
years
looked
ago.
at a lot of eyes in your time.
Definitely, absolutely fascinating. And I love the fact that you can take someone's eyes without any other information, and that's enough to recognise a person.
You can see the drawings coming in, but also some colour. What's this, pastel?
Yeah, it's just soft pastels and a mixture of pencil crayons, if I get round to doing it.
The hair is a lot of work. Are you going to do both sides? And
Yes,
then...
with the graphites, I can work that in when I add some colour too.
Yeah.
So it'll give it a bit of natural shade.
Born and growing up in Leicester, amateur artist Frank Davey worked for an engineering company for 25 years. Since retirement, he has taken up his love of drawing photorealistic portraits and drew his first ever self-portrait for this competition.
How are you feeling about the time? I'm wondering how long that very meticulous self-portrait took.
It took a long time, actually.
That's why you're kind of studiously ignoring us while you're doing continuing.
I'm sorry.
You go for it. You're doing just the right thing.
I think
you're the only man, Frank, I've met who can multitask. You're actually drawing and answering our questions.
Well, don't ask me to do anything else, because that's as far as it'll go,
Keep
my
the kettle on,
friend.
please, Frank.
You're very still, Trevor.
Is that all right? Too still?
Yeah, no, you're fine. No, you're great.
Trevor Eve is a very famous face. Does that make him a good sitter?
He really has got immense charisma. As he projects out from his face, that's ready to be painted. They're going to have no problem painting him today.
Is it an actor's skill to remain as still as that? Or is it just natural to Trevor?
But we found that I think actors are very good at it. I think they see it as another role, could it be? It's a very subdued role as there's no dialogue, but they do seem to be giving us something.
If you had to paint Ben, is he a good sitter? He looks very still.
I think what tends to happen is that gravity begins to win, usually. So you...
Oh, I know that.
So you sort of start to slump back and the arms come down, and then eventually that means the neck comes down, the head comes down. But he's got that chest out, so that's really helping him stay alert and, give good face. I'm interested to see if they use the blue. If they do bring in that background colour, is it there flat in the background, or will we get to see, reflected light on the face? I love that.
When you just see the odd line down there,
Exactly.
just reminiscent.
Yeah, and also it just reminds you it was painted in a time and a place.
Now, Paminda didn't want to be painted looking too serious.
It's very hard to maintain a smile for any length of time, I think, unless you have one of those faces that naturally sits in a smile. So I think what artists tend to get from a sitter is something that's more serious and more contemplative. that air is coming through in the portraits of her at the minute. So I hope she is happy with them at the end.
Got very upbeat hair.
She certainly has. That's the smiling bit.
The hair is smiling.
You okay, Parminder? You're still awake? You're still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Having a sitter in front of them is a luxury for some of our artists who are more used to working from photos than real life.
So here's the photograph here on the screen, but how much are you looking at our real life magnetic human being?
I've got a slightly different angle on my photograph.
I feel sorry for Hannah because she didn't want to do profile. So every now and then I feel I owe her one over here.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
Send some face our way, please. Yeah,
Send
lovely.
me some face
There's a bit of face coming your way.
After completing her fine art degree at Leeds Metropolitan University, amateur artist Hannah Murray moved back home to London, where she paints part-time and assists at a gallery. Her self-portrait took 3 weeks to paint and blends the traditional with a more contemporary style.
The colours that you're seeing on the screen here, they don't have any of what I can see here. So what will you do? Will you mediate between the two?
I think I make up a lot of colour as well.
Okay, yeah.
So I see it brown and I make it purple.
Technically, if that wasn't on that drawing, I might not know that that was skin.
When I start painting, the forehead always looks like a rainbow. Once you've done the rest of it, you don't notice all the different colours so much. They kind of all blend in.
I love skin tones. I love different colours that you find on human flesh. What most people would just consider flesh colour isn't. It's an absolute kaleidoscope full of colours.
Professional artist Jo Beer lives in Cornwall with her husband and 2 children. She works part-time at a GP surgery and spends much of her time painting at her kitchen table. Her self-portrait is called Flesh and took over 30 hours to paint.
What do you think are the hardest things about her as a sitter? I can see you've stylised the hair slightly.
Yeah, she's got beautiful ringlets, which have sort of lost themselves, so I'm going to have to pull them out of the bag somehow. But I'm not very happy with her nose at all. Her nose herself is lovely, but
So how would you correct something like that?
I have no idea.
Well, I'll let you have a go at that nose.
Thank you. Yes, it needs some work, doesn't it?
Okay, good luck.
It's nearly halfway through the competition, and bold colour decisions are being made.
I toyed with keeping the background red, and that didn't work out. I tried holding various colours in front of it. So at the moment I'm going with greenish yellow background, that I completely hate and wipe it off, but at the moment I think it's forming quite a nice contrast.
The more you use colour, you become sort of more aware of the fact that there are certain colours that do go together and colours that don't even want to sort of be in the same place together, so they do what's called colour vibration. So there's lots of things that you can play with.
I've done the whole face, but I don't know about how much we're going to do with the jacket and the hat. I might just leave them as almost like quite ghostly.
Is this one of your motifs to have quite a lot of space at one side?
So what I'm trying to do is accentuate the character of Trevor's features, make the sitter hit the edges of the page so that he's trapped in this space.
You've cropped him?
I've cropped him hard.
Okay.
We're halfway through today's painting challenge here at the Wallace Collection, where our artists are painting poet Ben Okri and actors Trevor Eve and Paminda Nagra. Only one can go through to the semi-final, so the judges have been observing their progress carefully.
Now, I think Inga lost out when she covered the red background.
Interestingly, I think the red, although it was the wrong colour, had the same vibrancy as the blue vibe, and it was a good simile for it.
He has this extraordinary rich skin tone, and if you're going to use the background colour in the painting, then you've got to let it inform the face, otherwise it won't really hang together that well.
Well, let's move on to Jamie.
What you see is not just a sort of a throwaway thing, let's lose some concrete, let's make something that's cool. It's actually about a material that means something to him.
It's fantastic. Out of this concrete mist, a beautiful evocative image of Ben that suggests a long history and story.
I also like what Greg's doing. His drawing was beautiful. I wanted to just take a photo of it before it was painted. It's not just that he captured him so well, but he chose just the right image to work from. You know, the head's at just an angle, he's slightly crumpled into the corner.
What we're seeing here is a very honest representation of an older man.
Now, Oliver roared ahead from the very word go.
He's got the groundwork laid out and it's very strong. Trevor, being an actor, is exuding great charisma, and the painting is matching that sort of strange sort of saturnine power.
After lunch is the worst bit of the day for me. You think they're doing an amazing job, and it's that sort of this crucial moment of like, can they see what is good there and ensure that they keep that?
I don't think I've ever kept my mouth this shut for all this time. I've not got a script in front of me. I'm not playing any character. I guess I'm playing the character of a sitter. I think I thought that this is how a sitter would sit. But now I'm stuck staring at the urn.
Feels a bit like a sort of managerial position with a team. I want my boys and girls to do well. You're kind of on the touchline here, and you're just willing them on. So there's nothing remotely boring about the sitting. It's very meditative, but there's a little passion that whirs inside you all the time going, come on.
Well, I come from a culture in which we are a little bit suspicious of being looked at for too long in that sort of way. And artists, they look at you in a very strange way. It's very analytical. So you have to surrender, actually, and be receptive. So it's been a very profound experience.
Getting to grips with the fine detail of the face takes skill and patience.
I have been struggling with the skin tone. I'm getting the gist of it now. I always expect a painting to happen in front of me immediately. Just got to relax and realise that it'll get there.
Skin tones can be an awful lot more buttery than what we sometimes realise. What I sometimes call ice cream colours, because you get those really interesting vanilla-y colours that the skin is quite often made up of.
I like these smatterings of blue that have entered in. I mean, that's presumably your nod to the background.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to put something in there. I think it needed it just to bring it forward.
So I'm getting the sense that you're quite an intuitive artist.
Yeah, this is very different for me. I've almost made oil paint into watercolours here. I kind of liked how it was going, so
yeah,
I
just went with it.
Yeah, went with it.
Graham, you're Jamie's dad.
Yes.
So where does he get his artistic talent from?
Well, it's not me. His mother was an art teacher, but...
Oh, well, there you go.
No, because really she's not that good at drawing. She was kind of like
Hello, if you're watching.
Yeah. She's on the golf course.
Oh, she's on the golf course, okay.
What I find astonishing is there's everything different, and I've watched him for years, how he just puts a few marks on the page, and then a head appears, and it's proportional, whether it's bigger, larger, you know, whatever.
I love proud dads.
Now, Godwin, you've been here all day, not surprisingly, because you're Ben Ochre's brother.
Indeed.
And Daisy, you're his goddaughter. Yeah. And what do you think of the painting so far?
I'm looking at Ben through the eyes of the artist, as it is. And there are different styles and different shapes, and that I find that very amazing.
And they're all capturing different parts of Ben in different ways, so I'll be interested to see what he thinks of them, because he's used to observing it's all being turned on its head, and he's the one that's the source of the attention.
Do you have a favourite?
I'd rather not say.
But you do?
I do, yes.
The artists have just 30 minutes left to complete their portraits.
That's actually my bathroom cabinet door. I've come for it back.
You can't have it. Now I'm just kind of grunging it up a bit, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Make it belong in this door that's obviously been around for years and years and years.
Everything's going to plan. I've just hopefully not over-egged the pudding, as they say.
I was surprised when the green went on because I thought that was very purposeful that you wanted the red to be the background.
I really didn't know what colour the background was going to be, and I actually toyed with the red for a bit, and I made it deeper, and I put a little bit of red, and it was just, no, it didn't work.
And it might seem like a silly question, but blue didn't cross your mind then? No.
No, it just didn't.
What I'm really looking to try and do is get beyond the familiarity that we all have with him as a personality and look for something a little bit more unique. So I'm going to try and see how far I can go in the time and space I've got available.
Actors Trevor Eve and Parminder Nagra and poet Ben Okri have been sitting for our 9 artists at the Wallace Collection in London for nearly 4 hours.
Are you fiddling?
I'm fiddling, definitely.
I see you're fiddling with the white background, which is probably a safe place to fiddle.
Yeah, it's good.
Go, go, go.
I'm
Get
going.
away. Like, you've got...
No, I'm happy. I'm just fiddling and tweaking now.
Artists, there are 5 minutes to go.
I think I've got to the point where I'm happy with it now. Ish. Maybe not. I don't know.
It was kind of touch and go for a while, and then I think I got a second wind. I'm liking it.
Artists, your time is up.
Please put down your materials and step away from your portraits.
It's now time to reveal the finished portraits of Parminder, Ben and Trevor, and for them to choose their favourite one to keep.
Whenever I came past, I thought, you know, I'd like to have a go at drawing Trevor. You look like a really good subject. And I think the artist would agree with that, would you not? Obviously, two of them are going to go off you quite a lot in the next 5 minutes. So, artists, can you please turn your easels?
Wow. Fantastic. I like the weight you've got in the body. There's definitely a sitting, you know, you've got that. I look vaguely off.
Do you quite like that?
It's the default position. Interestingly, I recognize me in this less than I do with Greg.
I think you have an intensity about you, which I quite like. I mean, how are you on intensity, generally?
Pretty damn good. The detail and the fineness of stroke is extraordinary. I look a little vacant, which is another aspect of my personality I'm perfectly prepared to accept.
You're just versatile, that's what you are.
What have we got? Vacant, intense,
and fed up.
And fed up.
Yeah.
Well, that's 40 years of a career.
This is the moment, to paraphrase the Spice Girls, when 3 become 1.
Right. I have to go with Greg. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hope you enjoy it.
So, artists, will you please turn your easels round?
Wow. Wow. Very different visions.
As a likeness, do you see yourself here?
Likeness is a very strange thing. I think visually we're a mystery to ourselves.
Well, this is a clue.
Yes. It's kind of almost expressionist, isn't it? It's kind of rich with colors, very intense. You've given me that still upward look. I'm fascinated by your blue background.
It is a most beautiful colour. It's affected your skin tones.
It's a wonderful portrait. I want all three of them. Do I really have to choose?
I'm afraid that's the nature of the competition.
Wow. I'll choose Jamie's.
So shall we do that special
Let's do
moment?
it.
So, artists, would you please turn your easels?
I really do like it. I was wondering what all the colours on your palette were, and I like the different bits on the tone of my skin.
The eyes, you feel you could poke them. They look so moist and
Poke them.
jellyish. Your pose today was very sturdy.
Yeah, and I felt like I was just like really holding it up, and I guess that's what's coming through.
I think it gives you an ability.
Got my smile, my half smile.
It's a fabulous explosion of Van Gogh-like colour.
I love all the texture.
So, you now must choose the one that you'd like on your wall.
I think this one.
It's Joe's. Congratulations.
Left alone with the finished works, the judges have a chance to examine each piece in close detail.
I love that red popping through everywhere. I mean, she really used it to great effect.
I've got a real sense of him, not just as the man who was sitting there, but I think she's got more a mood of the man when he was talking and chatting as well, somehow in that still portrait.
I loved watching him work into the board with all his tools and chisels. It's such a sensitive piece of work. He's not using watercolour, but it looks like watercolour.
I don't know where this has come from. It's quite a mysterious thing to have found. It feels from a different era.
I think I definitely took a risk with the pose that I chose. I was trying to get him to look thoughtful because he's a poet. At times I think he looked a bit drowsy.
I thought Oliver did very well today. He had that drawing down, the head was monumental, he knew what he was doing.
There are some lovely passages around here. I don't feel like it's completely resolved, although it has a good lightness.
Yeah. We were blown away by Jo's rendering of flesh in her very complex self-portrait, and I can see those things appearing here.
I do like the lusciousness of the paint.
It's sort of slightly fantastical, slightly comic-like in its graphic qualities, and this is the style that she adapted from the submitted painting. She can do much faster.
I like it because he's kind of crumpled into the corner without being too dishevelled. There's a lovely rhythm that runs up the arm and then goes into this shoulder, and the head's just at a slight angle.
I don't think it looks like the Trevor who was here. He saw a part of Trevor that he was maybe possibly trying to hide. It was sort of the darker, melancholic side. I think it's a beautiful painting.
I took a lot of time up front to work on my composition, so I'm hoping that that's what they'll see.
I three of these.
OK, I like these two for sure.
Okay.
Shame we can't have 4.
But it's only 3 who can make it to the shortlist.
And the first of those artists is Greg Mason.
The second artist is Inga de Plessis.
And the third artist to be shortlisted is Jamie Green.
You were all deserving. You all did wonderful work. Thank you all very much.
I was hoping that I would get through, and yeah, obviously haven't, but I'm happy with what I produced in the time I had.
To help understand the judges' choices, Joan and I quiz them for more detail. Can we start with talking about Inga's Ben Oakry?
It's a great likeness of the man as I experience him today. It's a beautiful bit of painting.
The only thing I would prefer, actually, especially now seeing it next to the submission, is if she'd just been a little bit more exaggerated with the compositional framing. I'd like to have seen even more above his head.
She began with red, and it looked wonderful like that, and then she started putting on the green.
I think she was really happy with this green colour. I think that red is wonderful. It kind of gives it a glowing quality, like he's really...
It is fab. It makes him look electrical.
I think the red background, green background might be a contentious thing, whether they like it or not, but I am pleased with it.
Greg found something out about Trevor that it wasn't apparent when you saw him posing. And I look at it now and I understand that feeling.
He caught a moment in which Trevor was suddenly rather melancholy.
I do think it's a very sensitively modelled head.
I was way over there looking at this, and that eye sought me out. It's quite special.
I really love seeing the combination of the submission and that together. I think it's brilliant because he's just taken away some of the refinement of that one, but we still get enough there.
I guess I put enough in my painting of Trevor for him to be able to see something unique of himself in that, and I'm happy with the result.
So, Jamie?
What I really like about him is this development. You can see the connection between the two really elegantly.
I always like an artist who isn't quite sure what he's going to do as the day starts, and he found Ben's head in there somewhere with a beautiful drawing. And so I think he was as surprised as we were that he had made this amazing step forward in his progression.
The only thing I'm thinking is, can he develop enough for a big commission? It's tricky because you're enjoying that journey with them, but at the same time, there's a risk.
I'm the kind of weird outsider with my techniques and stuff, so who knows, maybe that might swing it for me. I'm looking forward to finding out.
It's a difficult decision.
It's really difficult because, look, this is three really interesting artists.
And all very different and very good at what they're doing.
It's an intriguing picture of the day. Inga, Greg, Jamie, we've had such pleasure watching each of you work today, but as you know, only one can go forward into the semi-final.
Yes, and the judges have decided that that place goes to an artist whose combination of self-portrait and the way they adapted their techniques today gives the judges real confidence going forward. And that artist is... Greg Mason.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
Truthfully, I didn't expect to win. I literally thought they were reading out someone else's name.
Oh, my God.
Such a lovely guy. It was just a fantastic day.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Love your paintings.
There might have been a little bit of me that had a bit of hope, but I can be proud of myself today, I think.
Congratulations. Yeah, thank you. It feels amazing to have my work measured by people who I really respect. And I think that's going to really spur me on to work even harder next time round.